Oh, see that? You got a blank screen for a second there. I got so engrossed in watching my own broadcast on my phone that I actually forgot to speak. So, good evening. Thank you so much for joining me. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here as always. If you're listening on the audio experience on Catch Up, massively appreciate you for listening as well. I was just telling everybody, been to the Christmas markets in Chester this week to visit a top headshot photographer, Tony Blake. A lot of people on this scope on Facebook Live right now and on the audio experience will probably have had their headshots taken by Tony Blake at one point or another. I always bang on about how good he is, but he is really very, very good. And we ended up going around the Christmas markets in Chester where Tony's based. I bought some coffee that's apparently like flavoured with whiskey flavouring, but it's non-alcoholic. I thought, oh, okay, I like a Gaelic coffee. Give that a try. It's dreadful. It tastes, I don't know what it tastes so. It tastes like flowers. So it's like you're basically just drinking a cup of flowers. And imagine if you stewed up a load of flowers, that's what it would taste like. But waste not, want not, I'm not throwing it away. I'm going to be getting through it during this broadcast, I'm guessing. So it's the book club. Fanny says he's still drinking it. I've got it, Fanny, it's people around the world who that whiskey coffee that tastes like flowers is a dream they'll never realise. I can't be ungrateful. Tony's awesome, says Dawn. No, he is really, really good. Tonight, guys, we are looking at Anthony Meindl's book for the last time. We looked at this for the last 3 weeks, Left Brain Turn Right. Very good book by top LA acting coach Anthony Meindl. If you're an actor and you're watching, like I say, stay on, though, because the stuff we're going to talk about tonight applies to you in your life as well. And this applies to every actor on here in and out of their career. It says it's an uncommon path to shutting up your inner critic, giving fear the finger, and having an amazing life. And I think it's been a pretty good book so far. Tonight, we're looking at quite a general... kind of like a general few points from the last couple of chapters of the book, because I think this is really relevant for what I'm banging on about right now all over the internet, which is about goal setting and actually getting your year reviewed from 2017, what goals you set at the start of 2017, if you hit them, if you didn't, why not? Are there some shiny goals that you set in January that are still unobtained, you haven't hit them and they're dusty because you've not even been working at them, and that's fine. For some reasons, you're like, sometimes you just want to throw away some goals that you set at the start of the year because they're no longer applicable in your life. You might have changed jobs, you might have changed relationships, you might have moved house, you might have changed all kind of things that make some of the goals you set earlier this year just non-applicable now. However, if there are goals that you really wanted to hit this year that you didn't, then we've got to look at why that was and what we can do to hit them next year if they still apply. Has anyone been doing any kind of reviewing already? I might have sent you to Michael Hyatt's self-assessment thing you could do, the life score assessment. I sent you to that last week. Did anyone do that, and did they find it useful? I'm going to give you something else from Michael Hyatt tonight as well, because he starts doing webinars, a free training on goal setting, completely free, from next week, and you can sign up for one of 4 dates for that. I do them every single year. I get Michael's program called 5 Days to Your Best Year Ever every single year. I've bought it for the last 5 years on the run. It's just fantastic. The reason I keep buying it, you could just do the one from the year before every year, but it gets better and better every single year. He adds stuff to it. I'm going to give you the address right now, actually, for these webinars. I did that, scored 68. It's a good score, Dawn. 68. It's marks out of 100, but 68 is good. And also, you don't fret if you get like a low score on that life assessment, because ultimately, the lower your score on that life assessment, you can't do it now, unfortunately. It's ended. But if you did do it and you got a low score, it means that you can really improve your score quickly. If you were coming out with 95 on that score, I'd be like, I don't really know where we kind of start to improve your life. Well, if you're coming out with 55, it'll be very obvious there's some areas lacking in your life, and we can get to work on them like straight away. If you want to join in Michael's webinar, you can go to this address that's on your screen right now, act.network/buy webinar 18, and buy is BYE for those listening on the audio experience. It stands for best year ever. So act.network/BYE webinar 18. act.network/BYE webinar 18, and that'll send you through to a sign up page. You can choose one of 4 webinar times. Now, just to warn you, Michael is in America and he's in Central Time. Now, Central Time America is actually 6 hours behind us. So if in the UK, that is. So if you're registering for a webinar on that page and it says 10 a.m. CT, stands for Central Time, that's actually 4 p.m. in the UK. The ones that say 4 p.m. there are actually 10 p.m. our time. I think 3 of them will be 4 p.m. our time and 1 of them will be 10 p.m. our time. But be aware of that, because people will be signing up and trying to turn up for the training, and they'll be like, Michael's not here yet. It's because he's on Central Time and we're on Greenwich Mean Time right now here in the UK. We are 6 hours ahead. So for the last time, act.network/BYE webinar 18, and that's 18, the digits 18. Get yourself over there, get registered. I registered for the Thursday webinar just this morning. That's one that is going to be at 4 p.m. in the afternoon next Thursday. So if you're going to register for that one, I will see you on that webinar. But it's something that, even if you don't go on to get Michael's program, he gives away loads and tons of value on that webinar. So do go check that out. It's very, very good. So on to tonight's book. This is the last kind of chapter, well, last parts of a chapter that we're going to look at tonight. And it's titled, How Do I Get Out of My Own Way? Let Me Count the Ways. And Anthony actually gives 25 ways, really simple ways as well, to get out of your own way. And I'm like, let's use some of these. I'm going to review my 9 favourite ones tonight. 9 favourite ways to just get out of your frigging way. Has anyone felt that they've got in their way this year? They set a goal at the start of this year and they're like, you know what? I just got in my own way there. You know, you might put it down and say, oh, life got in the way. But did it? Or did you get in the way? Did you let fear get in the way? Did you overthink it? And did you let overthinking get in the way? Did you take too long and you procrastinated? Were you just, hold your hands up, sometimes, you know what, we're just lazy. We're just like, you know what, I just didn't commit to that. How did you find him, says Lowry. How do you say your name, Lowry? Lowry, Lowry. Apologies if I'm not saying it right. It's a lovely name, though. It looks, it's nice lettering, isn't it? Looks nice when it's written down, your name, Lowry. How did I find him? Find Michael Hyatt through a friend of a friend who... Michael did a productivity course as well called Free to Focus, and I was getting into productivity and stuff, and a friend of mine says, oh, you want to check out Michael Hyatt? It's like a virtual mentor. I was looking for mentors in my life 2 or 3 years ago. I think mentors are massively important. They really are. You should have multiple mentors in your life, anywhere between 5 and 25 years ahead of you, in the acting industry, if you're in the acting industry, out of it if you're not, but in and out, even if you are, you know, in lots of areas of your life. I've got guys who coach me on business, guys who coach me on physicality, nutrition, productivity, all kinds of things. And Michael, I just think, seriously, like, hands down, Tony Rossi's in the house. Thanks for retweeting, Tony. Michael, hands down, is just I think he's the leading authority. For me, he's legit, he's genuine, he actually gives a shit. He really cares. He's not just like, you know, someone who's faking it and just, he's not like just a money magnet going, oh, I'll teach you how to be great, just give me loads of money. He genuinely really top bloke, cares. His live trainings are good, and 5 years, and he said 5 years to your best day ever, 5 days to your best year ever. Changed my life in like 2013. It did. I had an idea, Lowry, for a voiceover training company that I'd been meaning to set up for 2 or 3 years. And I procrastinated and just didn't really know where to start. I didn't know how to set that as a goal and how to set it up. And I went through Michael's program, which kind of helps you lay out your goals and then tackle them in bite-sized kind of chunks, really. And I went from not creating this business over 2.5 years to actually creating this business in 14 days through this goal-setting program. And just like impact-wise financially for me as well, because it was, you know, it was a big kind of business for me. That it went from nothing to generating about £60,000 a year instantly. And I was like, wow, I've been kind of sat on this business idea that I had that gives great value, but I get, you know, great value from it myself, but I give great value to the students. We created a lot of successful voiceover artists through that workshop as well that we ran it for about 1.5 years, and I would never have done it had I not bought 5 Days to Your Best Year Ever. I wouldn't have known how to do it. So I've got Michael to thank for that. And then from there on, I set goals every year and I've just continued to build each year. So just super legit guy, really like him. So check it out. Michael Hyatt, he's written loads of books. He's got a great website. He's just an all-round good guy. So I hope that answers your question. I went on a little bit there. And Fanny says he gives unbelievable value on his free webinars. No, he really does. So definitely go and sign up for that webinar. I'm going to put the address up at the end of the broadcast as well for those who might have just missed it. So back to the book. Okay, we're going to look at these ways to get out of your way. Okay, it says, why do we make such a big deal about tiny disturbances in our lives? One sec. Tony says, did this help you get ideas on how to build the biz? In terms of it helped me lay out that goal, Tony. It helped me lay it out in a proper strategic way that was very specific and actionable, and and in a realistic way. It was time bound. I put times on those goals. I held myself accountable. You get access to a Facebook group as well through that program where you can find accountability buddies. There was live training once a month on that program as well if you got the VIP version of it. So you get 12 live sessions a year, so one every month, just to keep you kind of on track. So it was fantastic. I'll talk about the program again at the end of this session if you've got any questions on it. But yeah, so Anthony in this book says, look, why do we make such a big deal about tiny disturbances in our life? And this is getting in your own way, okay? Most things amount to nothing more than a minor speed bump in the totality of our lives. And that might be getting upset about a parking ticket, a cancelled flight, an unexpected fender bender, spilled coffee, a long line at a bank, and yet we make them the thing in our lives. I know a lot of people who do this. They just focus on all the little things and make big deals out of them. Why are we programmed to focus on what isn't working when so much is working? When our stuff gets triggered in life, which is invariable and essential, it's helping us on our journey. But how we choose to work through our challenges can be made easier and less stressful, more enlightening, more fun. When the shit hits the fan, it doesn't feel fun, but there's a way out, and the discovery of that process can be liberating and, yes, fun. So we're going to look at now 25 ways. Well, we're not going to look at 25, we're going to look at 9. But in this chapter, he's got 25 ways to assist you in getting out of your own way. And he says if you could just commit to any of these exercises over a period of 30 days, you see major shifts in how you deal with stress, how you deal with mood swings and negativity. You'd have access to facing your challenges in life in a less upsetting and more peaceful and balanced way. And you create new brain circuitry. Massive fan of this. I love the science behind literally creating new neural pathways in your brain. But you can do this by practicing something for 30 days, which in turn would give you access to more good-feeling emotions. He says it's called attunement. And attunement means basically to bring into harmony, to tune the instrument. And what are we but simple instruments waiting to be tuned? Life experiences are gifts to use in attuning our hearts and minds, our emotional and spiritual selves to a deeper part within. Upsetting events to the ego are unwanted. To our higher self, they are needed and actually wanted. They tune us. The goal is not to let the fine-tuning break our strings, though. A lot of that process is by choosing a thought that makes us feel better about the explanation of the unwanted events occurring in our lives. And as we know, the ego's job is to keep us out of tune by rationalizing and defending positions that keep us stuck and unhappy. So it's about choosing happiness. Sometimes we don't have access to those better feelings, though, because we are so deep in our own stuff. So let's look at how else we can use our stuff to help us move beyond it. So there's 25 ways here that he lists. We're going to look at 9. Some of these sound so simple. You'll be like, Ross, why are you even talking about that? It just sounds so simple. But the simple things are very often the things that we just miss in life. And I want you to let me know if you do any of these already, if you agree with me that they are useful. If you disagree, pipe up as well. I want to know why you don't think this is useful and maybe what works better for you. But here are 9 things that I've chosen as my favorite ones out of these 25 that always work for me. If I'm in a bit of a slump, which yes, does absolutely happen, hold my hands up, I'm not invincible. I will definitely get overwhelmed sometimes, upset about some things, not every second of every day is incredible. But whereas the old Ross 10 years, 11 years ago, that would get in a slump for 4 days, the Ross you see in front of you today will get in a slump for 4 or 5 minutes and then realize that actually it's pointless and use some of these strategies we're going to look at today to get himself out of it. My first favorite one is super, super simple. I do it every morning. It sets me up for a great day. And it's literally when you're feeling a little bit shit, get outside and take a walk. Anybody do this? Anthony says, look, I mentioned earlier that when Einstein was stuck on a problem he couldn't solve, he'd push his chair away from the table, put down his pen, stand up and go to take a walk. It's good enough for Einstein, man. It's good enough for me. When he came back to tackle the problem sometime later, the answer he was looking for was suddenly there. Now, why does this happen? Well, partly because our left brain becomes so engrossed, that's our analytical brain, becomes so engrossed in tackling a problem that it blocks any sort of access to higher understanding, which is namely the right brain. That's the creative side of your brain. The right hemisphere is connected to the universal matrix of what we're all part of. It wants to provide the answer you seek, but the impenetrability of the left brain discounts that world. Indeed, the left brain doesn't even want to acknowledge another world exists. But what happens when you free up the energy that's been attacking a problem for so long? Well, the energy begins to move and drop into different parts of your body, recalibrating itself and shifting to equalize and restore balance. By taking a walk, your semantic nervous system takes over, fires neurons with commands, and lessens the stranglehold of the left brain. It relinquishes its power, which allows you to access information from the right brain that isn't available when the left brain is in hyper overdrive. Now, I know that sounds all like super scientific and crazy, but this is the exact reason why on my long run on a Sunday, seriously, guys, I have some of the most creative ideas during that hour and 45-minute run that I ever have. I'm probably the most creative. I don't think I ever have more creative times or can think through problems better than when I'm actually out physically connected to myself. If I'm sat at my desk for too long and I'm trying to work out a problem, sometimes like banging my head against a brick wall, I just can't do it. And yet when I get out and about, particularly if you can run in nature or you can walk in nature, science says that if you can get out for 18 to 20 minutes a day and walk in nature, that can just be a field near your house. Even if you're in the city, you can find some greenery to just walk in for 18 to 20 minutes. You just live at a much higher level in terms of you just feel more fulfilled, more connected, and just a freer thinker effectively, because you will be engaging more of the right-hand side of your brain. Taking on an opposing task can also free up your mind. Yeah, doing blocks of work, the same thing for 2 hours and then change into something completely unconnected to that. Sometimes it's very helpful as well, Fanny. But for me, getting out, if you want to change your state, Tony Robbins says this, the fastest way to change your mental state is to change your physical state. And if that means literally, if all you can do is get up from your desk and do 10 star jumps, because you can't go out at that point, or maybe you're stuck in an office job or whatever, that's still going to change you physically, and it's going to open up more of your right brain as opposed to just you being stuck in analytical mode. Totally agree with that. So true, says Fanny. It's honestly really, really true. So he says, try it. The next time you're pissed off at your boss or in a rage about your ex, or maybe you've had a bad audition, take a walk. The next time you feel bored or uninspired, take a walk. You'll be surprised to find that portals to a new world open up in the form of signs, ideas, hunches, intuition, and even practical information. The question is, will you listen? So will you listen? Are you going to do that? Literally, it's the start of my day. Within 15 minutes of waking, by 25 to 7 in the morning, the latest, I'm out. Even though in the UK, it's pitch black, it's raining, it's pretty awful. My walk to the gym in the morning and my walk home from the gym in the morning definitely frees my mind up and helps me think through problems. So that's my first of Anthony's 25 that I like. If you let me know in Facebook or Twitter if you like that, or if there's something you don't like about that, let me know. Second one, reinterpreting the thoughts. So when you're having shitty thoughts, or when a situation's happened to you, I did an interview for Acts on This today, so there'll be a new podcast going on actsonthis.tv with an actor and an acting coach called Joe Simpson. That'll probably be on the site on Friday for all premium members. And he was talking about ultimately reframing circumstances as well. And I've asked that question at the end, Fanny, I'll go over that. And he's talking about, it's about kind of reinterpreting the situation, and we can't always control the situations that are thrown upon us in life, or actors find themselves in slumps all the time where they're like, I still can't get that agent, or I still haven't got that job, or nothing's working for me. And we're talking about ultimately relabeling the situations that you're in and actually looking for opportunities for growth as opposed to, I don't know, death, opportunities to basically just shrink and shrivel up. This is a little bit in the same vein as that. It says reinterpret the thought. Find a new way of interpreting a situation that you are convinced is your fault or makes you feel as if you're unlovable or untalented or a loser. So you might have gone through something recently, whether it's a relationship that's gone wrong or a audition that's gone wrong, or an interview with an agent that you felt went wrong, or you think, they didn't take you on because they hated you and you are a loser and you're unlovable and you're ugly and all this kind of stuff. When you're in situations like that, we've got to find a new way of reinterpreting those thoughts. So he gives an example. He says, look, years ago, I went out on a few dates with this guy who was funny and nice, and I thought at the time, a keeper. I never heard from him again, though. I immediately took the brain drain train. What's wrong with me? I thought, I'm unattractive. No one's ever going to love me. I expended a lot of energy beating myself up and making myself feel inadequate, and further confirming my worst fears and lies about myself. Eventually, I got over it, though. He says, fast forward to 3 years later. I run into the same guy. Out of the blue, he says, hey, Tony, listen, I'm sorry about what happened a few years ago. I was really going through some rough stuff, and I didn't even know how to show up in my own life. I'm sober now and just want to make amends. How awesome is that? Not that he suffered and had a few rough years, but that he overcame it and made amends. His honesty helped reveal truth to me. I wasn't awful. I wasn't a freak. It wasn't my fault. The moral of the story, though, is next time, try to interpret events correctly when they first happen so you don't end up beating yourself up for untruths that you tell yourself. We never have the full story, folks. It's more truthful and accurate to tell a story that affirms us rather than telling one that tears us apart. And the truth is, it never has anything to do with us anyway. So you might have gone at that commercial casting, for instance, and gone, God, I thought I nailed that audition, and then you don't hear anything back. Seriously, like, it's never anything to do with you. And in drama as well, there's so many things out of your control, and it's literally going in, try to enjoy the experience and going, you know what, if I don't get this part, it's not because I'm shit, it's not because I'm unlovable, I'm unattractive, I can't do this job, etc., etc. There's so many things that you will never even find out about why you did or didn't get that job. It can come down to everything from physical attributes, hair color, height, ethnicity, things that you can't control. You can't go back in time and go, right, I'm not going to have, I'm not going to be, as a grown person, I'm not going to be 5'8" or 5'10" or 5'11". You can't really control that unless you went super extreme and had some kind of, I don't even know if you can do it. Can you get operations to make you taller and add in longer legs? I don't know. But you can't, and you might lose a job because the person you're playing against, who's already got the part, is taller than you. And actually, it wouldn't make sense in some scene for that to be the case, or, the character's attributes, as the writer sees them, are just not what you are. Fanny says, yes, you can. No way can you make yourself taller. That's crazy. Who would do that? But yeah, it's never really about you. So rather than telling yourself that it is all your, your fault, you need to reaffirm that, that it isn't, because that often isn't the case. Sometimes I find out they really like me, but I still do it. Yeah, it's because it's natural, Rebecca. It's kind of our default state is to basically look for what isn't there, not what is there. So if you don't get something, you want to look for the reason you didn't get it, and you will ask yourself disempowering questions like, what's wrong with me? When am I ever going to get a role? Oh, will I ever book anything? Etc. And your brain will go out and find everything it can for you that's basically, going to beat you up and tear you apart. But the thing is, what Tony's saying here is we need to reinterpret those thoughts and go, well, you know what? Yes, I did do my best for whatever reason, even if you really flunk an audition. When it's gone, it's kind of gone. There's never a point where it becomes practical to just focus on everything that went wrong. You've got to reaffirm and go, actually, you know what? I might not have, done what I needed to do to get the part that time, but boy, have I learned from it. And I'm going to make sure that never happens again. And actually, I've grown through this whole experience. Thus, it was a gift, not a curse. And there's going to be more. There's going to be plenty more opportunity. So you're going to be on the planet, like most people on this scope, we're all so young. You're going to be on the planet another 60 years, potentially. Plenty more time for auditions. So that's the second one that I really liked, was just reinterpreting the thoughts. Third one, to get out of your own way. I've talked about this, banged on about this on many, many of these broadcasts. And that is visualization. Visualization is like a big part of my life as well, and it has played a big part in, I think, some of the success that I've had over the last few years. Visualization is basically says, look, when your reality bites the big one, spend more time visualizing what you would like your future to look like. So when in reality things aren't going the way that you want them to go, visualize the way you would like them to go. And it says the reality might be that right now you don't have a girlfriend or a lot of money or a job or a creative outlet. Spend more time envisioning your world the way you would like it to be. If you do this for 5 minutes every day, it would radically change your external reality. As you dream it, focus on the feelings that are engendered by having the things you want. Focus on what it feels like to marry your dream date or have a new car or get your own TV series. Flood your body with the exciting, joyful feelings that come with these expectations. Why do we spend time dreaming up doom and gloom scenarios? Doesn't it just naturally feel more fun to dream hopeful ones instead? Because the thing is, for most of you, like, oh yeah, I don't visualize enough. I bet you do. I bet you actually visualize every single day. You just visualize shit happening to you. And you just visualize things going wrong, or visualize things that you feel you will never have, or you will see other people, and you won't dare to quite dream as big as they are, because you're like, oh yeah, it would be lovely to be earning millions of dollars on movies, but you just don't dare to dream that big. And visualization from a scientific perspective, that's what I like about it, has been used by some of the top coaches in the world to coach like athletes to break world records. You know, they make them visualize themselves crossing that line in X amount of seconds and what it's going to feel like. And they go so like make these visualizations so deep and vivid. And it's called acting as if, the principle of acting as if, which is very different to faking it till you're making it. It's almost embodying that emotion that you're going to receive when you do the thing that you're going to say you're going to do. It just kind of makes it way more compelling. And it's been proven to just work really, really well in all walks of life, not just acting, just anything. And I think it is really, really useful, because the alternative is you're just going to continue to visualize stuff not going well for you, or you're going to have the same recurring negative thoughts upon waking every single day. And that's visualizing. You're probably already doing it. You just need to flip those thoughts around and start visualizing good stuff happening to you. And the more you do that, the more a part of your brain called your reticular activating system will pick up on that. And that's like the filter for your entire world. And if you're focused on the things you want, you're going to see way more opportunity to get them. If you're focusing on all the things you don't want, you are just going to create more of it, because you're going to focus on that stuff and you're going to see more of it in your life, which means it's going to bring you down. Your state of being is going to drop. Your confidence is going to drop. It's going to affect how you show up in the world. Everything affects everything, doesn't it? So visualization is a cracker. Definitely start visualizing what you want in your life as opposed to what you don't want in your life, or what already is there that you don't want. The next one I really like, and I've got a story about this. You'll know about half of this story already. All right, James. James is here now as well on Facebook. Look for the power. Corey's here as well. All right, Corey. Look for the power of synchronicity in your life and write it down. I've had some like pretty crazy what's the word? Synchronatic? I don't know. Bouts of synchronicity this year. Now, synchronicity, I'll read this bit and it'll explain to you what it is. But it's almost like where you again, visualize yourself doing something and you focus on it a lot, and then almost without you having to try, the universe seriously gets out of your way and delivers it. And you know what I'm like. I'm not one for all this airy-fairy, let's just believe in the magic and the secret and wish for this and that and I'm going to get it. I'm all about practicality, executing, going out and making things happen. But some things this year, and I'm going to tell you one that happened last week, have happened to me that I can't explain. I actually cannot explain how they have come about. It's like literally I decided and committed that I wanted an outcome, and the world got out of my way and has now delivered the outcome. I'm going to tell you in a second when I've read this, but it says, look for synchronicity in your life. What makes events synchronous is that they are unlikely to occur together by chance. What makes them meaningful is that at some level they represent things you may desire in life or illustrate the nature of your relationship to these things. They are often communicated through signs and symbols urging you to follow the path they are revealing. It's your job to investigate what significance they have and what they personally mean to you. At a superficial level, they demonstrate that we are co-creators at a casual level in our lives. They give meaning to the phrase, the universe is always giving you what you want. When you have no attachment to it and therefore no blocking in manifestation, it shows up in your material world. You may be thinking, well, that's swell, but how do I apply this to the things I really desire in life? Stop creating so much energy around what isn't there, Tony says. The more you doubt and question the thing you desire, the further it moves away from you. When you have a thought about someone or something and it creates a desire, and with the desire comes an attachment and a doubt, you are in effect cauterizing your intention for that thing to manifest. The doubt and simultaneous attachment to it is an implicit command to the universe that you really don't believe you can have that thing. It's as if you're cancelling out that which you are ordering. Watch as you let go of control, how synchronicities will occur with greater and greater frequency. This is what I have noticed. I mean, seriously, this sounds so out there. Like I would not normally go in for this. He says, but when you, he says, you're going to see these things with greater and greater frequency. Follow them, acknowledge them, write them down. They're trying to show you a roadmap of your life. See where they lead you. Your life can become fun again. An adventure. You're a co-creator, which is a nice way to think of it, isn't it? You're a co-creator with the universe. If you're creating at this level, you can continue to create at higher and higher levels as well. Now, it's just this example that's happened to me, right? So I told you, actually there's like two things that have happened this year that are pretty big. Now, the first one for me was, those people know, obviously I'm a big, like, I don't know, I love websites and creating stuff and marketing online, and, all my business and most of my life is done online. Now, in Manchester, there was a company that set up a couple of years ago that have completely blown up in the online marketing world, a super disruptive company of under 25-year-olds who effectively are like the Illuminati of social media. And there's a company called Social Chain, and it's run by a guy called Steve Bartlett, who's 24 years old. And this company, Social Chain, will float on the stock market next year for £300 million. An incredible, incredible company, and what incredible success this young lad who's only 24 years old has had. When I saw this company, I started watching this guy online and some of his videos he was putting out, and I was like, man, I need to meet this person. Like, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I was absolutely convinced that I was going to become an associate or a friend or like hang out with this guy. Because I was like, I'm all about you being the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, constantly looking for inspirational people to surround myself with. And this was a guy, Steve, who was like, I want to meet this guy. How am I going to do it? How am I going to actually meet the CEO of a company worth 300 million quid who's flying around the world all the time? I've no idea. But I'd kind of committed that this is the thing that I wanted, okay? Then a few things started happening that I couldn't explain, all right? I just believed this was possible without any doubts, and I found myself in a voiceover session. I do a lot of voiceover, and I did this voiceover for a new app for iPhone, and at the end of the voiceover session, the engineer said to the person on the other end of the phone who was dialing into the session, where is this audio going to? Where would you like me to email it to? And this voice came back and said, I'd like to email it to jason@socialchain.com. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. I have been looking for this company, and then all of a sudden, without me even knowing it, I've just done a job for this company. So that was the first thing. That then opened up a little bit of dialogue with a couple of other employees in the company, but still not directly to Steve. This was just like, guys would love to, maybe come in and chat to like some of the team. There's 200 employees there, about getting, some kind of consultancy from these guys, or maybe paying them to help me with my business, or just whatever, some kind of collaboration. Again, I haven't really put any effort into this, bar commit that this is going to happen. Okay, I'm gonna do it. It's going to happen. Fast forward a few weeks later, until the week before last just gone, I get a call from a friend of mine who hasn't been in the country in years, a guy called Nav, who I met out in America a couple of years ago. He's not been in this country for years. He lives in Dubai and Barcelona and Milan and all over the place. He's a big guy on YouTube optimization and making YouTube's videos, a hit and go viral. He calls me out of the blue and goes, mate, I'm going to be in Manchester tomorrow. Do you want to meet up? And I'm like, yeah, no problem. That would be awesome. I'd love to see you. Turn up to the meeting with him at this hotel, just thinking I'm going to have a coffee. And I'm like, so what are you doing for the rest of the day then? He goes, I'm going to have a meeting with this guy called Steve at Social Chain in Manchester. And I was like, oh my God, I've been wanting to meet this guy for ages. Nav didn't know. He had no clue. He didn't even know I knew the company. And he's like, why don't you just come with me to the meeting? And I'm like, would you let me like come at this meeting with you? That would be absolutely amazing. Half an hour later, I'm sat in Steve's office and we're having like a coffee and a big chat, all of us. And I'm like, mate, the way this meeting has come around is just crazy. Proper synchronicity. I then get a call off Nav tonight as I'm walking home from doing an interview. And he's like, mate, I'm going to be doing a podcast with Steve in January. I was wondering if you'd be into co-presenting it with me. And I'm like, so not only have I gone, so I've basically gone from thinking this would be great to meet this guy, I know it's going to happen at some point, to working for him by accident I didn't even know, to getting in on a meeting with him that I didn't even know, to now hosting a podcast episode with him that I didn't even know. That's just massive synchronicity. Just things that were cropping up and signs that I was seeing along the way have led to that opportunity. And then from there on, where does it go? I don't know. But it is just having that belief of going, if I just put my mind to something and I just basically I visualize it, I expect it to happen, I'm going to find opportunities, or at least see opportunities to make that happen. And you can do that in all walks of life. Another one was I wanted to meet a billionaire who's got the same eye condition as me. And through, again, synchronicity, I don't know what else you can call it. It looks like I'm going to be doing a documentary for the BBC on my eye condition, and we want to feature this guy, and I've been wanting to meet him for years. It's just a bit bonkers, really. But synchronicity is a big thing, so look for it in your life. Life sometimes just will show you things. You've got to just be open to seeing them, ultimately, and just look in your life for like things that have happened that you're like, I can't explain that meeting with that person, or if I'd have been 10 seconds earlier or 10 seconds later, we never would have crossed paths, never would have led to this. If I hadn't seen that sign on that door, I wouldn't have looked into this a bit more, or if I hadn't seen that online. A lot of things that just blow my mind sometimes, and I'm the science guy who likes to explain everything, and there's some things that I just can't explain sometimes, which is crazy. So that's one I like. This next one I love because I'm all about gratitude. It's dead simple. Anthony says, listen, when you're in a slump and you feel like shit, write down 100 things you're grateful for. Gratitude for things we have in our lives is a sure way of allowing more things to flow to you. And it just is. I mean, 100 might take you a little while, but I'm all about writing 3 things I'm grateful for from the day before I go to bed. You all know I do that if you've been on these broadcasts quite a lot. Everyone should do that before you go to bed every single night, or upon wakening in the morning. Write down 3 wins of the day, 3 things you're grateful for from that day. Simple things. You might have had a coffee with somebody, you might have had a meal, you might have spoken to someone on the phone. A tender moment with your boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever, or your kids. If you can be, the more gratitude you can show for life, the happier you're just going to be, and you're going to see more things to be grateful for. If you're focusing on the one thing that's not working in your life and you're missing the dozens of things that are, you're going to be unhappy. So gratitude is massive. He says 100. I mean, if you can write down 100 things, I'm sure you'd find them if you look for them. But I'm all about a minimum of 3 an evening. Get a little journal on your phone or write it down in real life in a book. It's awesome. Next couple of things. I think we've got like 3 or 4 more things to look at, or maybe just. Is it? How many have we done? I think we might only have 2 actually. We must have done 7 already. This one, when you are in a mood about something or whatever, you've got to look to how much you're committing to the thing you say you're wanting. Again, me and Joe spoke about this in this interview today. Loads of actors in his acting school come to him and like, oh, really, I've been thinking of writing this thing, and I really think I've got this great idea, and it's going to be really, really good. And they never commit to it. Thus, their results are shit because they put in 0 action. They get terrible results, and if that feeds into like negative beliefs about, oh, well, I couldn't do it anyway, it's too hard, etc., etc. It's much easier to act your way into a new way of thinking than to think your way into a new way of acting. Okay, the more you sit around and think about things, the less likely you are to act on them. We spoke about this on Monday, going, it's about action and taking action quickly so you don't overthink and start worrying about stuff that talks you out of doing that thing. Get into the world of action. Don't worry about the end results. Don't worry that the thing you want isn't going to show up. The more you take action, the more something will come out of the action. Failure is the other side of success. You can't have success without failure. It's not the separate experience that we're trying to avoid in life. Without failures, we wouldn't be able to have victories. And a deeper truth lies in the axiom that within each failure is the seed to our future success. It's nice, isn't it? Within each failure is our seed to future success. Long before James Cameron made the biggest movie ever, Avatar, he made a real stinker called Piranha 2. I never saw it, but apparently it was really shit. Does anyone remember that movie? Does anyone care? Well, no. The point is, had he let fear stop him, he would have never created, and we would never have seen Avatar. So again, there are no failures. Something that I'm massive on when I coach the Bulletproof Actor program that I coach. It's coming out again in February. Bulletproofactor.com. Is that there are no failures in life. If you're learning, you're succeeding. Ultimately, that's it. James Cameron would never have gone out and made the biggest film ever had he just gone, you know what, Piranha 2 was shit. I'm useless. I'm unlovable. I'm a shit director. My films stink. Forget it. And yet a lot of actors will have a bad audition, and that's how they'll feel, as opposed to reinterpreting the thought, which is the point we made before, and thinking, oh, okay, wait a minute, what gifts are there? What good is there in this situation that I cannot currently see? If you're in a bad place right now, ask yourself that question. What good is there in this situation that I cannot currently see? And you've got to look for it, but you will find it. This is a good one. I have got two more, actually. This is really applicable to actors here. Let no one in or out of the business define you. Okay, life's too short to stay in a relationship with people who don't support you, who don't celebrate your success, who lack a spirit of generosity and authentic joy for the artistic victories you achieve in life. Sometimes this may be a lover or a friend or a family member, and it sucks when you discover people who are close to you often seem to undermine your accomplishments. It can be painful. I know someone who said to someone who got in a soap, really big part in a soap. She was over the moon about it, was in it for many years. It was very much the making of her in many ways. And her cousin was like, "Oh, well, it's almost acting, isn't it? You know, yeah, it's not, you know, that's not real. It's not real acting." And it just was like, it's an awful thing to witness. I'm like, you're so jealous that you just try to put this person down and you can't celebrate in their success, and they're part of your freaking family. And that's bad. And you see people's friends. As a friend, my hairdresser, a guy called Phil, forgot his bloody name then. His daughter's in Emmerdale here in the UK. Tony, you won't get that in Chicago, but she's in Emmerdale, and she's only a young actress, and all of her friends at school won't mention it, that as if it's like it's not even happened. None of them have said, "Oh, well done, I saw you last night, that's great." They've all got so insecure about it because she's on TV. They're so unsupportive. They're refusing to go to her parties and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, you know," making up all these excuses about, "Oh, you know, I can't go there," or you know, "I don't want to be around," because she's inviting some people from the show, or she might invite some people from a new college that she's going to. None of her existing like old school friends who she's known her whole life are remotely celebrating that success, and that just stinks as well. But if you're not careful, you can let people like that define you. That's what Anthony's saying in. It says it goes without saying that there are enough people out there who won't support you on your journey. If there are people in your personal life who fit that description, try telling them how you feel. If they can't alter their behavior or at least fake it, try taking a break from them. Surround yourself with affirmative people who see what's possible for you. Why dismiss and celebrate other successes, Rebecca? Exactly. It's pointless. Nothing makes me happy than seeing other people in this industry have success, because there's an infinite amount of it out there. And you know what? If I've played any part in their success, there's a chance at some point they'll pay it back. So why would I not want them to have success? Surround yourself with affirmative people who see what's possible for you. If you meet or work with, and you will, a horrible boss or a duplicitous friend, a bad manager, producer, or acting teacher for that matter, don't walk, run in the other direction. Never look back, even if that person happens to be someone you perceive as powerful. Remember your self-worth, value who you are as a human being first. This is what's dead important that people forget. Value yourself as a human being first, as an actor second, a musician second, a designer second, a painter second, whatever you are. Don't ever subject yourself to anyone or any comment that marginalizes you, diminishes you, makes you doubt yourself, or tries to break your spirit. You're not just a commodity. Humanity comes in all shapes and sizes and colors and ages. Remember that. So you're a human being first. You're an actor second. You know, and you can be lots of other things as well. Human being first, an actor second, joint second. You can be a designer, you could be a singer, you can be a musician, you can be whatever you want. But don't let other people who are unsupportive marginalize you and define you and just make you feel like you're doing something wrong by actually going after your dreams just because they're stuck in their shitty mindset. And I saw someone this week, I can't mention any names whatsoever, and I'm just seeing them literally, this is someone's partner, I'm just seeing just erode them and their career. And I think it's all based on fear that if this person who works in our industry has any more success than they're having right now, that they will lose this person. Or I think they're worried, like, if this person gets successful and goes on to work on this and that, they'll meet other people who are better than me, who are more attractive than me, who are richer than me, blah, blah, blah. Thus, they just try and clip their wings and talk them out of doing things and breed fear into them and bring them down and control them, because they're like, actually, you know what, this person has a real shot at having success. And I don't want to have that because I'm going to lose them. And it just cripples me to see that. It makes me really sad. I'm like, that's like the closest person, more or less, you'll ever have in your life. And they ain't supportive of your dreams. And they've beaten you down so much, you're starting to doubt yourself as well. It's nonsense, isn't it? It's not good. Last thing that I think just sums up life for me, really, this. Have as much fun as you can. Always. Okay? Life is meant to be fun. And so is creating. It's the reason we were interested in performing or painting or writing or singing in the first place. This spirit of joy is the most important aspect to keep in our hearts. We can let so many other factors rob us of our joy. Critics saying cruel things about us. Or people saying cruel things about our physical attributes, teachers who belittle us, directors who bully us, or simply the constant arbitrary rejections that face any artist in any field. The external factors, compounded and multiplied, can distract us from the original intent to create, but they can also build character and uncover inner resources we never knew we possessed. So don't take them on as your truth, but regard them instead as mere stepping stones. All artists are special in that our spirited will to create in a monetary world based on business and not art is remarkable. That's what it is, isn't it? All artists are special in that our spirited will to create in a monetary world based on business and not art is remarkable. What we can express is remarkable. Just have fun with it. You can't fail. You can't lose. An artist expressing his truth can never fail. Just have fun playing and expressing who you are. I couldn't think of a more noble calling and a more worthy challenge. And really, that's what life's meant to be. So they're just 9. I've got a recap on those. They're just 9 of the 25 ways Tony's like, these are great ways to get out your own way. And I just want you to take note of these for 2018. If you've got in your way in 2017, take a couple of these and just do them for 30 days. Or choose one and just do it for 30 days. I'll read them to you again, the ones that I think are the most, well, for me, the most poignant ones. Take a walk. I think it's one of the most simplest ones in the world. When you're feeling like shit and your mental state is not good, change your physical state and take a walk. If you can walk in nature for 20 minutes, if you're listening to the audio experience now and you're listening to this on a podcast, hopefully you're walking somewhere, or even just changing your physical state in the gym and you're walking on a treadmill, that's fine. If you can, walk in nature for 20 minutes. That's a cracking one. I do that myself. Reinterpret the thoughts. So you've got to start actually reinterpreting how you're seeing the situation you're in and looking at it as a gift as opposed to something that's robbing you of something. And you'll always find the gifts in things. Remember that question, what good is there here right now that I cannot currently see? 3, visualization. Start looking at the world and visualizing your life as you want it, not as you don't want it, because too many people end up focusing on all the things they don't want, all the things that are wrong in their life, as opposed to getting excited about how they can fix it and the things that they could have in their life if they work for it. Visualization on a scientific level, like I said before, is proven to work. Look for the power of synchronicity in your life. There will be signs out there that will point you in the direction you should be going in. Follow your gut, follow your instincts, and like I explained to you with the whole social chain thing, Things will just happen for you if you allow them to. If you worry about it and you overthink it and you almost use your willpower to kind of, I don't know, repel stuff or to withdraw from situations. Shall I do this? Oh, well, no, you know what? I'm going to use all my willpower to talk myself out of that because it could be dangerous, or I could lose money, or I could get hurt, or whatever, or whatever. The only things like life or death, but if you're feeling uncomfortable, it's generally a sign that you're on the right path. Write down your goals was another one as well that I missed out here, actually. In addition to writing whatever it is you want to write about, because he talks about just writing. If actors want to write, just write. Also write down your goals. They keep you focused and on task. If you can think them, you can achieve them. Writing your goals down literally improves your chance of hitting that thing just by writing it down by like 42% or something like that, because you've actually brought the thing into reality. Remember this webinar I'm going to put back up on your screen now. And if you listen on the audio experience, I think you can still do these webinars until about the 15th, 16th of December. act.network/BYE webinar 18 stands for best year ever webinar 18, 18 the digits. act.network/BYE webinar 18. Go there, register for one of those webinars with Michael Hyatt. He will teach you how to goal set for free on that webinar. Write down 100 things you're grateful for. Gratitude, as always, I think is the antidote for everything. If you're feeling in a slump, look for the things you're grateful for. It's going to pull you out of that. You're going to put things into perspective. You're going to start appreciating what you do have as opposed to what you don't have. Anthony says write down 100 things you're grateful for. If you can do that. Commit to stuff. If you really want it, you'll find a way to make it happen. If you don't really want it, you will find an excuse. This morning, walking to the gym at 6:30 in the morning, probably a part of me could have cried. I felt so overtired. I worked all day vlogging yesterday. It was pitch black. It was cold. I knew I had to go and work out my back, which is not my favourite muscle group to work out. But I'd committed to doing this 2 years ago. I've not missed a day at the gym, really, Monday to Friday in the morning for 2 years, unless I've been working or I've been out of the country. If you really want it, you'll find a way to make it happen. If you don't, you will find an excuse. You will let yourself off, and that'll just lead to you berating yourself, hating yourself, telling yourself you're a bad person. Your self-talk becomes negative. It just sabotages your entire life. Commit to something if it's not working for you right now. Really go all in. Let no one in or out of this business define you, and that especially goes for your family and your spouse. If they try to talk you out of stuff, they'll just try to protect you a lot of the time. Just say, thanks ever so much, I'm going to do it anyway. Please, can you just support me? I remember back in the day in 2010, like 8 years ago, when I started running marathons. And I'm partially sighted, and running marathons in a crowd of 36,000 people is pretty bloody difficult, to be honest with you. People appear from nowhere out of my peripheral vision. I don't have any, so they just appear in front of me. I end up tripping, falling a little bit. People take me by surprise. It's not a great experience on occasion. But I committed. I'm doing this marathon. And people around me were trying to talk me out of it. Oh, I remember going out for my training runs, and I'd got to like 20 miles on my training run. They're like, oh, is it not a bit much? I'm like, all I need from you is a pat on the back. Thank you. Some support. Like going, this is great. Really inspirational. You're doing this. Don't try and talk me out of it. I'm going to do it anyway. But you just need people around you to actually just, even if they have to fake it, if they're worried about you, but they have to pretend they're not, you go to do a skydive for charity. Of course, your mum, your dad, your boyfriend, your girlfriend's going to be shit in the pants that you're going to be the one whose chute doesn't open. You don't need them to tell you that before you go on the jump, though, do you? They need to fake it and just support you and go, listen, well done. This is going to be really good. Pat on the back. Says Rebecca. Yeah, honestly, sometimes you just need those supportive people around you just to G you up, because you'll have enough doubt in yourself. And then the last one was have as much fun as you can always. Ultimately, it comes down to this. You have one bat at this life, guys. This is it. This is your only at-bat. If you're a baseball player, I used to play baseball. It's actually a great British baseball champion for those who want to know. Under 16s, played for a team called Trafford Saints, and we won the Great British Baseball Championships. I was pretty shit, but we had a load of really good Americans on our team, so that's why we won. But yeah, they would always say, listen, this is your last at-bat, and you're only as good as your last at-bat. Literally, as you're up there, about to swing, and you've got a guy throwing a baseball at you at 70 miles per hour, you can hit a home run one week, and people will love you, and the next week, if you get struck out, You're only as good as your last at-bat. Now, in life, we don't get that many at-bats. This is your only one. And if you are holding back, or in 2017, you have held back through some bullshit fear, or people who aren't supportive of you, or talking yourself out of things, or procrastinating, or not going all in, not committing to stuff, not visualizing what you want, not setting goals, not being grateful, 2018's got to be the time to do that, because who knows? Who knows if we're going to see a 2019? I really would hope we are. I'm visualizing myself getting to 100, but we don't really know that. You can only really focus and control on today. Ultimately, the now. That's when everything is going to happen. The past has happened in the now. It's gone. The future will happen in the now. It's not here yet. You only have this right now. One at bat. Make it freaking count. James says, so how do we tell the difference between someone giving advice or criticizing you? So this is interesting, James. Actually, it's a really good question, that, because sometimes the only difference between feedback and criticism is how you interpret it, mate, and how you choose to interpret it. I try and own my own feedback, so I will actively seek feedback from people. And that means, because I never used to take criticism well, in terms of like, if I felt it really was genuine criticism, I didn't like that. I've never been good at taking it, to be honest. I used to get quite defensive, and I'd always think I was right. And one way for me to really own that criticism, if it was coming, is to actually ask for it first and go, guys, listen, I did this webinar last night, or I did this performance, or I put on this show, or whatever it was. How do you think I did? I'm not quite sure about this. Was that any good? Or, what did you think? And when you're actually actively asking for it, you can't get offended by it, because it's like, you own it. It's like, yes, I am stepping up and taking accountability for this. So sometimes people will give you genuine feedback, but you will interpret it as criticism when it really isn't. So you've got to be open to taking people's feedback, people's opinion, and then ultimately believing and trusting in yourself enough to go, is it valid? Is that valid? Do I take that on board? Do I not take that on board? So if you believe in yourself enough, whatever anyone else says doesn't really matter, and you can self-validate yourself. This is something that will lead to a lot of confidence when you do something. You regardless of the outcome, you self-validate. So you're like, well done for even just doing that. You threw your hat into the arena. Yes, people are going to criticize you, but what are they doing? They're sitting on the sidelines doing nothing. You're at least trying. Self-validate yourself. Take one thing from that thing you did as like the best thing you can learn from it, and then repeat the process. So every time you're doing something, you're taking one thing from it that you can learn from. You're saying well done to yourself. You don't need validation of anyone else. You don't need likes on Facebook or subscribers. The vlog that I'm doing at the moment, we're getting like, we're only getting a week on YouTube, like just over 300 hits. And there'll be people who put a vlog out and instantly want like 30,000, otherwise they're not doing it. I don't need those hits to validate me. I know I'm putting everything I can into that vlog, putting out the best vlog a week, really opening up on it, showing people behind the scenes of my life, hopefully entertaining people, educating people, inspiring people, and the comments show that. But I'm not getting a million views or anything like that. A lot of people need that validation, self-validate. You only need permission from yourself to carry on, not from other people. So it's about having an unshakable self-belief, James. It will build by word of mouth too. Yeah, I hope so, Rebecca. We're only 3 months in. I'm committing to this for a minimum of a year, and I'm going to see how it goes at that point. I mean, we're enjoying it so much. I'm just going to continue it. If you've not seen it and you're listening on the audio experience, or you're watching now and you haven't seen any episodes, go to youtube.com/Watch Ross, because I actually want to pay for somebody's subscription to Spotlight if you're an actor. Put that up on the screen right now. If you go to youtube.com/Watch Ross and subscribe, I'm going to be choosing a random subscriber who's commented on a video. Comment on them all to be in for a bigger chance. And I'm going to, on New Year's Eve, draw somebody and pay their Spotlight subscription for 2018. If you've already paid for your Spotlight subscription, I'm going to just send you the cash straight into your bank account. No strings attached. Or if you're not an actor and you're like, Spotlight's useless to me, I'm going to get you a really cool gift for about 145, 150 quid. That's how much Spotlight costs. So go to youtube.com/Watch Ross. Please watch an episode. We'll be massively grateful again for your feedback. Leave it. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. If you don't, give it a thumbs down. But don't just give it a thumbs down and then just leave. At least tell me why you didn't like it, or what you'd want to see more of, what you want to see less of. But I think they're pretty good. I think they're quite entertaining. We like them anyway. Me, Sean, and Petch, who make it, we enjoy it. So that's what we're looking at in Anthony's book. That's 4 weeks we've done on this. It's a pretty thick book, as you can see on the screen now. There's a lot. I mean, there's loads in it that we haven't read. We've only looked briefly at 4 chapters in it. There's so many chapters, and they're all pretty short. So you can really read this in bite-sized chunks, which is what I like about it. I mean, there's literally... the first chapter is Who Do You Think You Are? And it's broken down into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections, all 2 pages each. So the whole of the first part's only 10 pages, but it's broken down into really easy to read chunks. So if you're on the bus or the train, or you're going to an audition, or you've got 10 minutes on your lunch, or you're on the toilet, just have a little read. Read a little bit, but it is a really, really cool book. It's called Left Brain Turn Right. If you're watching on the replay on YouTube or on actonthis.tv, there'll be a link to this book on Amazon. It's only £6 in the UK, or the audiobook I think was only $3.99. I think Rebecca said she's looking forward to it on Audible. Yeah, I'm sure it's like £4, Rebecca. Super cheap. But Anthony's a great guy, and tweet him, let him know that you watch this, and let him know what you think, at Anthony Meindl, and it's spelled Anthony for Anthony, and Meindl is Meindl, at Anthony Meindl. But top bloke, really, really good guy, top acting coach, very much mixes personal development and acting training. Like him. So that's it for tonight, really, guys. We've gone. It's gone 10 o'clock already. That's gone pretty quick, hasn't it? It's gone really quick, actually. I'm going to be back on Monday for a motivation and mind hack session, which, again, yes, don't get bored. It's going to be on goal setting, or an element of goal setting, because this is what I'm going to just bang on about until the end of this year, because I think it's so important to be starting to set your goals now and learning how to do it properly if you've never done it before. If all you've done in the past is make New Year's resolutions, that is not how to goal set. Most people fail their New Year's resolution by January the 24th, statistically. That's it, done, over. They've broken it. And that's because they don't know how to set goals properly. They don't know how to check in with themselves properly. They don't know how to measure goals, how to monitor goals. Most people check in on themselves to see whether they did their New Year's resolution the following New Year's Eve. Oh, yeah, I was going to lose weight last year. I mean, that's a shit goal in itself. Lose weight. What does that even mean? It's not specific. It's not measurable. It's not actionable. A better goal would be, right, I'm going to lose 10 pounds by, February 28th. And then you can set yourself down milestones to go, if I'm going to lose 10 pounds by then, how much do I need to lose a week? How am I going to do that? Strategic goal setting will change your life if you learn how to do it. So we're going to be looking at more of that next week. And again, I'll put this up for the last time. act.network/BYE webinar 18. Go there now and register for one of Michael's webinars. It's completely free. I will be on the Thursday night one. Remember, he is 6 hours behind us, so the times you see there are 6 hours behind in America. If you're in the UK, the time is going to be 6 hours ahead, effectively. So if it's a 10 a.m. one on that website, it's actually 4 p.m. here in the UK. But do go and register for one of those. I will see you on the Thursday one. He's got 4 up at the moment. And occasionally, if they get full, he'll add like a little bonus one, so if you miss out, you'll still have an opportunity. But top bloke, listen, very, very good at coaching. Here's my goal for this time next year, to be a regular in Corrie. Right, well, what you've got to do then, James, on that, is then you need to break that down. That's a big goal. So that's like your macro goal. What we need to do then is look at the micro goals within that, because that's quite difficult to go from zero, to that without an actual plan is difficult. So we need to go, right, how do we go from where we're at to where we want to be? I don't know what your setup is with representation or auditions, or how many auditions you're having, or who you know at Corrie, the casting directors, who you would need to get in front of. We got to research all that. The casting directors at Corrie are Jenny Radcliffe and Katie Scully, formerly Katie Belshaw was her maiden name. You would want to look at the directors on Corrie. You would want to start getting rapport with them. Any workshops people are running that they invite those people to, I would definitely have a look at those. There's quite a lot of stuff you can, words you would need to have with your agent. A lot of correspondence and things that you can write, filming stuff that's bespoke that would fit characters in soap, that kind of stuff. You could show them I don't know, kind of suggestions of, certainly not suggesting characters of who you would play on that kind of stuff, but definitely film some showreel stuff that you think is soapy, that is a similar acting style to soap, because soap's quite its own unique style, isn't it? Particularly Corrie, where sometimes it's quite big in it. It's almost like it's TV, but sometimes the performances are big, and some of them are really comic. Some of the characters are proper larger than life. You might want to show some of that on your showreel, but break all of that down into SMART goals. Michael will talk about that on the webinar. SMART stands for specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time-bound. And if you set goals that fall into all of those categories, you have a big chance of hitting them if you track them and go about them the right way. But great goal, man. Really, really good goal. Something that you certainly should visualize, use everything we talked about tonight, and really commit to, because that's a freaking big goal as well, James. There's a few things that would have to come into play there that you probably don't have a lot of control of. But next year in Coronation Street, from what I know, they are going to be introducing a new street that I think runs parallel. I don't know the full story about this, but I think it runs parallel to Coronation Street. It's going to be featured within Coronation Street, which will be introducing, I'm guessing, obviously a lot of new characters. So you never know. Maybe a few of us will get on it. Let's aim for that. But yeah, got to set those goals. If you just say that now, James, and then you don't look at that again or really kind of delve into it, chances are you're not going to hit that, man, because you've got to go about it very specifically. Take action on those micro steps that will lead you to that macro outcome. Awesome. Very, very appreciative of your time tonight, guys. I know we've gone a little bit over 10 o'clock. Like I say, I'm going to be back on Monday for some Motivation and Mind Hacks. I'm going to be putting out a podcast for premium members, and that's on this on Thursday or Friday this week, so tomorrow or Friday. It's an interview that I did today. Doing these things called coffee conversations where I don't plan any questions. It's just me and a guest, and it's me and jobbing actors who are working regularly in stuff like Coronation Street, James, all this sort of stuff. People you wouldn't recognize on the street, but if they told you what they'd been, and you're like, man, you've just been in everything. And I want to start having those people on, just talking honestly about their careers, because I think everyone on here is going to relate to that more than me bringing multi-BAFTA winners on here, because it's great that they're doing that and you can learn a lot from people like that, but they're so far ahead of a lot of people that it's quite difficult to replicate what they're doing. Whereas if we bring on people who are jobbing actors, who that is all they're doing, they don't have side jobs, they're just working full-time as actors, but they're not super famous, you wouldn't know them if you walk past them in the street. That's valuable, I think. So me and Joe Simpson had a good chat today, and that'll be up on the website on Thursday or Friday. Really inspirational as well, man. Just tells it exactly how it is. Love it. Awesome. I'm going to finish with again, I'm going to play the trailer for this week's vlog. Go to youtube.com/Watch Ross if you want to subscribe. Turn on notifications. You'll get an email every time I put a new episode out every Monday morning. And if you do subscribe, you've got to subscribe and comment on a video. I could be drawing your name out at random on New Year's Eve, and you could be winning your Spotlight subscription for free. So I'm going to play that now. Love you and leave you. Thank you so much for being here. And I'll see you Monday, guys. Have a fantastic week. Bye for now. What is your talent, Bilal?
Comedy.
Comedy is his talent. What are you going to do for us?
Tell you the joke.
Tell us a joke. Hit it, Bilal. Feeling good. I'm pumped. I'm feeling ready. I'm feeling ready to just smash life. You better pick up. Don't know where he is. Come on, Petch. We're looking out for a red Corsa with someone who looks like Manuel out of Fawlty Towers in it. Hey, all right, everybody. He keeps trying to touch my knee. I just said on the blog, this is my favourite studio.
Ah, and you're our favourite actor.
Next week, on episode 12 of the vlog, we will have been vlogging now for 3 months. I'm not saying you're the fat controller, Keith, but definitely not. More Edward. That is talent.